Hi everyone, back again. Mrs. Hurston's here. I was so happy to see you today. You guys did a wonderful job in circle time. And remember we talked about verbs, so we're going to go back into our verbs. We know that we add an ed to the end of the verb to make it into the past, and we leave it the same when it's in the present. So we have the word play, and we put an ed and we change it to played, or talk, we change it to talked, or walk, and we change it to walked, right? This time we're looking at the verb present and past again, but we're using it in what they call to be, verbs in the be, which means past and present, and we're using words is, are, was, were, okay? I want you to think about some facts about animals that you know. What do you know about animals? Think about some facts and how you would put that in a sentence. Okay? Think about all the types of animals you know. You know dogs, cats, lizards, hamsters, fish, turtles, you know, all kinds of animals. Think about some facts and using is and are or was and were in your sentences. So let's look at it. So here we're looking at is and are, and we're looking at was and were. Okay? So one tells the present and one tells the past. So let's look at this sentence here. It says the verb in be, right? And look at our first sentence. It says a cat is furry. What do you notice about the noun? Remember? The telling part. You notice that it's singular, one cat, and then we use the verb is. So if we're talking about one, and what's happening now, we use the word is. A cat is furry. And let's look at this one. A lizard is not furry. Do you see that? It's still one singular, lizard, and then we use the verb is to tell us about our lizard. And now let's look at another sentence. We have frogs are slimy. Look at the word frogs. What do you notice about the word frogs? Do you notice it is more than one? Frogs are, so we use the verb are. And look at the next sentence. Fish and birds are colorful. What do you notice about fish and birds? More than one, right? Two sets of animals. And in the more than one, so we use the word are. That talk about the present. Fish and birds are colorful. Frogs are slimy. Okay? Now, if we wanted to use another verb, let's say we're going to use was and were. So, the chick was sitting . The chick were chirping. Okay? So we're using was and were. So here we go. See here? The chick was sitting in the past. Still using one, talking about the chick. Was sitting. The chicks were chirping. You see that? The chick was sitting. The chicks were chirping. Okay? Do you see that? We're using was and were. Okay? And I want you to try to use is and are, was and were. So let's look here. We have our two sentences. It says a blank is blank. So think about what you would put there. A blank is blank. What could you put there for that? Two blanks are blank. Okay, what could you use in that sentence? Let me give you an example. I could say a dog is brown. Two dogs are running. You see that? You see that? Dog is, dogs are. See how we use that? Okay? Or I could say 1 egg was here. And I'm talking about one, so I use the word was. 1 egg was here. 2 eggs. Notice I'm talking about more than one. 2 eggs were here. And I use the word were in the past. So I'm using is and are, was and were. And I know you're going to do well with your sentences. Is and are for the present, is and are, and was and were for the past. Remember, if it's one, you use is. A cat is furry. If it's more than one, frogs are slimy. Okay? So that's what we're going to do with our sentences. In the past, the chick was sitting. The chicks were chirping or sitting. Was and were. Okay? Now, you're going to complete your workbook pages 214 and 220. 214 and 220. Okay? And I know you're going to do an excellent job with is and are, was and were.